Well, good evening, everyone. I'm David Soldani, and this is Take Two Radio. Have you heard? And it's Have you heard the latest in soap news from all the four soaps, Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, General Hospital, and Days of Our Lives. And usually with me I have Michael Thomas from Soap Opera News covering me. But today I would like to introduce our newest co-host to this show, Miss Belynda Gates-Turner. Welcome, Belynda.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
So before we get started, why don't you sit back, put your feet up, and set a spell and tell us about yourself.
Well, okay. I write primarily for The Inquisitor, and my author page is Belynda GT. I also write sometimes for Blasting News, but The Inquisitor is my main outlet. You can also find me on Muckrack. I collate all my news there. I write primarily about the Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital, and the Young and the Restless. I do other shows occasionally. Some of my primetime favorites are Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, and some of the nighttime dramas. I've been writing for a decade. I've been writing since I could hold a pen, but I've been a professional freelance writer for a decade, and soaps are my wheelhouse and my specialty and the love of my life.
And you've been on the stage, too, I take it, with interviews, and you've done Dragon Con?
I've done Dragon
Is that
Con.
True?
I've done, Dragon Con's down here in Atlanta. It's the largest comic convention in the Southeast. It's the Southeast version of Comic-Con. And I sit on Walking Dead panels, and I've done Person of Interest panels and Grimm panels there. And just Q&A and spoiler and plots and just analysis. So I'm used to being in front of a room full of people, and it's a lot of fun. I love talking about television and movies.
And I love listening to it. Because I'm a better listener than I am a talker about it, because I end up making myself confused when I...
Well, we'll try to do
So, Michael hasn't come on yet, and I hope he's able to. I've done everything possible to him, but if he can't make it, well, that's all right. We'll just go on without him. Shall we start with Bold and the Beautiful?
Absolutely. We have to talk about the thing that everybody's talking about with Bold and the Beautiful.
Okay, so the... Kimberlyn Brown is back out of secrecy.
Yeah, she's been in hiding, sneaking around, lurking in corners and shadows on the set, apparently. It sounds like Big Adventure, the way they kept her hidden for so long. It's amazing.
I know. It's awful. Now, the thing is she enough to hang around and bring those numbers up for the show?
That's the question. It's funny because when people have been talking, like somehow a whisper got out that Sheila's coming back, and it was like, no, that's crazy. She's dead. She's dead with someone else's face, with Michelle Stafford's face. And then there she was, and it was like the Twitter exploded. Everybody's heads exploded. Sheila's alive, but, it's a soap, so people can be alive. But what I saw on social media primarily was positive reaction. There was the, oh, come on, she's dead, but then everybody was replying back, come on, it's a soap, you know better, no one's dead. But
no one's dead in a soap if they don't want to.
No one is ever dead. I think you can literally come back from anything from what I've seen from my years of watching, but Sheila is one of those just super villains that everybody loves. I don't even know if they love to hate her. I just think they love to love her. So it's thrilling.
They love to hate her. They hate to love her.
All of that.
They hate to hate her. It all makes sense.
It's wonderful. And then Bradley Bell did an interview with TV Insider last week, and he said he signed her to a year.
1 year.
1 year, and there's been scuttlebutt, she's going to head to Genoa City, and I from my interpretation of Bradley Bell's interview, I don't think that's going to happen in this year, because he talked about this big, long, slow arc and setting her up with Quinn, who, thinks she's a villain, but she has no idea what a villain looks like. Sheila's going to teach her. So I really do. I personally expect to see Kimberly Brown the full year in L.A. doing Bold and the Beautiful, trying to win Eric back. The behind-the-scenes stuff with her and John McCook, you can tell their chemistry is there, and they just love each other and great friends. So I'm thrilled.
I am happy, and she gets to introduce herself to even new viewers, because I can't believe it's been 20 years.
There's a lot of people.
It's been 20 years.
There's a lot of people who are like, who is she? And I did a Who is Sheila Carter article for all those people, and to refresh me, really, because she was back and forth between that and Young and the Restless, and it's been so long, and, you have to remind people how she supposedly died. And Brad Bell basically said he's ignoring what happened on Young and the Restless. So he's just pretending she never had Michelle Stafford's face and, never died. It's fine. So it's fine.
I like how he put it, though. He put it, says what happens in Genoa City stays in Genoa City.
Exactly. That, to be fair, Kimberly Brown didn't die on The Young and the Restless. That was Michelle Stafford. So, that wasn't Kimberly Brown. We never saw her. We did see her burn at one point over there, but we didn't see her die that last time. So I'm really excited.
I'm excited, and I want these numbers to come up, and I hope she can do it.
Well, and that's the other big news for the week, is that The Young and the Restless got the 3-year renewal, and The Bold and the Beautiful got a 2. They got a 2, and a 2 is good. That's,
Both got 2 or 1?
I believe they got 2. If I'm thinking about my news correctly, I really thought that they got a 2, and Young and the Restless got a 3. I will double check, but it shows a lot of faith, and their numbers are strong compared to what we're seeing for the other soaps. So I hope none of the soaps go away, but it's scary for fans when you see those numbers come down.
It's scary. What are we going to do if they're all gone? I'm going to turn in my cable box.
I might have to read more books or dust. I don't really know. Bold and the Beautiful, they said it's getting a renewal through 2018. So that's technically,
That's technically
year and a half
too.
or so. So that's good. It's good news. It shows faith in the show, and I'm energized. I have to say that right now, Bold is probably my favorite. That I get excited when I tune in, and a lot of it's about Sheila and, of course, Quinn and Eric and Quinn smooching on her stepson, all that.
Yeah, I know. All that. She's going to get all the juice.
Now, the one piece of casting coming and going on Bold that did bother me, and it was tangent to Sheila, is Sean Kanan as Deacon. I wrote, I was confident that Katie didn't pick up a gun and she hadn't turned into a sniper. And I did write that I thought it was Deacon because he had the grudge to bear. And so, and then, of course, the shot rings out and Sheila is over at the police station. And I was like, I knew it is Deacon. And then there he is without seaweed. I wish he had the seaweed on still. But I was disappointed when Brad Bell did say that Sean Kanan is gone. It was an in and out. He didn't even really get a full episode. So that was a bummer. I was so glad to see him. I adore Sean Kanan.
That was a disappointment to some fans, because I thought once I saw Deacon there, I thought maybe that he and Sheila are in cahoots.
That's what I had questioned that in my article. I said, I think it's Deacon, and if it's Deacon, is he working with her? How would he, I do think, I will tell you that I think he chewed the scenery for the few minutes he was there. The best line was, when he talked to Katie, when he realized Katie had the big house next door, and he asked, "Are you seeing anyone?" And it was just, okay, that's brilliant. So I think, for the tiniest cameo, they did write some great lines for him, but just to see him come in as, the red herring and then get hustled out in handcuffs, hopefully the charges get dropped and he lives to be naughty another day, because I love Sean Kanan.
Oh, yeah, and you figure that his claim didn't take, that they'd arrest Quinn for his, for her accident, for pushing him off the cliff, because it's just his word against hers. And
right. Brad Bell mentioned that. He said no witnesses, and it's, he said she shoved, down he went. That was fun. Those were fun scenes when they did that, and he came up soaking wet and with the seaweed. And I loved that the interviewer asked Brad Bell about the seaweed. And he said that he came up with it just to scare her and freak her out, and it was brilliant. It's good stuff going on right now on Bold, I think.
So we're going to hope for it. Hope for some more good stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, if Sheila Carter doesn't bring up the ratings, I don't know what they would have to do. I mean, I'm interested to see the numbers for her full first week, and this week she's not having quite as much time, and I think because we know they bounce between stories, and so now all I'm thinking is how soon till I see Sheila again.
I know.
So I do think it'll help.
I think it's going to help. Now the only thing that I think that's the two most important things, that they get the renewal, and Sheila, that's the big out news of B&B.
Mm-hmm.
And we covered it. Okay, so we can go to Y&R, which we can give the 3-year renewal they got.
They did get the 3-year renewal, which isn't surprising. Their ratings are so much higher than everybody else's, but I have been studying the year-over-year ratings, and everybody, all 4 of the soaps are down from this time last year. By several 100,000, it's kind of scary, But for them to say, okay, we're gonna invest in the show for another 3 years, I think is a great sign. I'm not sure if NBC and ABC are gonna follow suit with anything like that. I think those are going to be a year-to-year thing. We'll see.
I know.
But 3 years for a daytime soap is huge.
It is, because usually they usually go as far as when they grant you a contract. Usually, it's very rare it's beyond 2 years, because they don't know how far they're going to be. So what would you do if you granted an actor 3 years, and your show is off before your contract is?
Right, and then you're stuck. I don't know, paying people, working out a severance deal. I mean, it's the business and show business. That's what. And it's funny because a lot of fans. I interact a lot on social media in soap groups and all, and what disturbs me, frankly, is the number of people that don't know what the ratings are, and they have no idea that that particularly like Days is, probably hanging on by a tiny thread. And it's also really, I think what's absolutely hurting all the soaps is the prevalence of being able to get a hold of a link and watch the show online, where there's no advertising revenue, and people do that. That's the fact of this day and age. But they're hurting their shows, and they're contributing to what's going to eventually cost daytime our programming. So I have I have my Comcast. I have my subscription. I bite the bullet. I pay the bill every month. I think that's what you have to do. So.
Yeah, I do too. I have CBS All Access, so I watch Bold and Y&R like 5 to 6 o'clock at night, because it's already on. I have the NBC app, so I watch Days like at about 9 to 9:30 at night. By the time it gets there, because I'm working.
Right.
But I'm home at 2 o'clock to watch General Hospital just in time. So do my numbers count?
Actually, yes. What I had just read the other day, they did an updated, I don't know, the Nielsen's or however they're counting these, but the new thing, they've factored in DVRs. So if you watch it live, of course you count. If you DVR your show, which I do, and I start all my shows, I start Bold 10 minutes late, and I start GH half an hour late, and YR half an hour late. That way I can fast forward through all the commercials, which I know that's how they get their money, but whatever. But if you watch it if you DVR it and watch it within 24 hours, it still counts as a view. If you put it on your DVR and you watch it 2 days later, or you binge it over the weekend, you're hurting the soap. So
We're hurting
that's something to know.
binging it.
You're not being counted. So if you DVR your show, even if you can't watch it, if you press play and then walk out of the room and go take a shower, or go do your dishes, and then watch it on the weekend again. But if you DVR, you have to watch it within 24 hours for it to count. And that's important to know. And if you are, watching links online and things like that, you are actively hurting your soap. You are.
I am hurt. If I'm watching
if you're watching a link, if you're no. If you what I mean is if you're watching an illegal link, and everybody, if you're watching it on YouTube or Daily Motion, it's an illegal link. And they're in all the soap groups. Everybody does it, but they have to understand that by going outside of the boundaries, you're hurting. No, with you watching on the apps, I'm quite certain those count. But again, I think probably if you don't watch it within a 24-hour period of when it aired, that you probably don't count. So you have to stay on top of your soaps instead of binging over the weekend. I don't know how on demand on the cable systems affects it. That's a question that I will look up. Not right now because we're talking, but later I will look it up. So next time we can talk about this, because this is stuff that is going to help save our soaps and keep them on longer.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Well, also on casting news, since we're talking about Young and the Restless.
Yes. Yeah.
The Adam recast rumors they were at fever pitch and they've died down, and then there was also Dylan recast rumors, and there were some actors over at CBS Daytime, and they were reading for parts, but the Dylan recast rumors seem to have come out of thin air. There is nothing supporting those. That's just, I don't even know, literally someone thought that up and decided to write something about it, and which people do. The Adam recast rumors, that came out of Daytime Confidential and Jamie Giddens, and he sometimes does get some good solid dirt. And then Michael Muni has been really active on social media. Yeah. Basically, he went from, it was a funny arc, a little bell curve, if you will. He started out saying thanks for the ongoing support, and then he kind of was like, well, I'd really like to come back, and he was tweeting nice things at Eric Braeden, and that was, they had issues. And then it kind of reached a fever pitch of, I'd really like to be back, I'd really like to do this, and, and then no response or anything, of course. If he did get a response from CBS, none of us would know it. I would be shocked if they brought Michael Muni back. Huh?
That would surprise us.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like Adam coming back in some form or another is inevitable. But I don't necessarily think it needs to be right now. And I know people love Michael Muni. I love Justin Hartley. Justin Hartley is never going to come back. I'd be surprised if Michael Muni came back, but you never know. I mean, their ratings are pretty solid. So
and we can't put all our eggs in one basket.
Exactly, because if it is a recast and it doesn't go well, because it's funny, when Jason Thompson came over from General Hospital, I have to say, and I had watched him for years and years on General Hospital, that he didn't quite fit at the beginning as Billy for me, but he's grown into it. And I think he's turned out to be a great recast. I mean, Billy Miller was obviously great in the part, but I do think Jason Thompson has very much made it his own. But a lot of people really fussed about him at first. And, if you do recast it upsets people, I think it can hurt ratings. You see it on Twitter, you see it in the groups. There's always, if they do this, I will stop watching.
Oh. And they have to grow up a little bit because it's part of the business. And you have to give them a chance because they want to work.
Yeah. Yeah, you're either a fan of the show or you're not, And, I'm pretty critical of the writers. I am. I do take them to task. At GH, I've taken Gene Passanante and Shelley Altman to task a good bit because I'm a writer, and I feel like that when you're being paid to write full time, you should do your best no matter what. And I don't think, sometimes they always do their best. But I'm not going to quit watching. I've watched through so many writing regimes, that I'm not going to quit just because of that, because it's the characters I care about. And, it's like you have a friend in your life that sometimes they're not the greatest, but you stick with them, And that's where I am with soaps. They're my friends. The other casting thing at Young and the Restless that I think is bothering people, I know it's bothering people because I see it online, is the Saurus of the twins.
Oh, of the kid.
Yeah, because Crystal Callel is 29. Those
29.
kids are, she's 29, and they're, supposed to be 15,
14?
16. They're in high school.
They're Reed's age.
Yeah. So they're, the driver's license age, and she's 29, and of course, her husband is much older, but still, it's disconcerting. And I know Saurus is a fact of life, and and they pulled them up to set them beside Reed, and I do like Tristan Lake LeBeau. I like his music. I'm enjoying it. Summer on soaps gives me the heebies a little bit because of the teenage stuff they do, which is funny because I have a teenager, granted a male child, who of course is not going to watch soaps. But I also spend a lot of time around his friends and lots of girls, and never once have I heard any of them say that they watch a soap. That's just not a demographic I think that is happening for the most part. So it seems so strange to me that all the soaps pretty much invest so heavily in the teens for the summer. And I don't know. I don't know that it's a sound investment in writing or casting or money, but they do it. Maybe it's just because it's tradition. So
it is disconcerting to watch because of her age.
It's very strange, and I do have to say the one thing, as kind of a nerd teenager myself growing up, it's funny that the Lexi Stevenson that plays Maddie is gorgeous. She is gorgeous, and they have her with a braid and glasses because that you can just tell the makeover's coming. I can see it a mile away, and all of a sudden she's going to be beautiful, but glasses make girls ugly, and I wear glasses every day. So it really bothers me that it's like, why couldn't she just be cute? Because she's smart. She has her AP classes, and so they decided that she can't be cute. That bothers me. So, and I don't think that's a great message if there are teenagers tuning in, So.
Yeah. It's
just an aside.
It's an aside, and I know it's something we got to stomach, I guess, because we can't change it now.
It's happened. The other, big casting news this week was over on General Hospital with Jennifer. Is it pronounced Bassie? Bassie, I think. Bassie, because it's like so exciting because it's All My Children and it's Marion, and then I have to say that I really don't know if I ever saw an episode of All My Children, but I did go when I heard she was coming, and I did some research, and I was like, oh, okay, and then she ended up in an asylum, and so I thought, well, if they are doing Marion, and she's going to be in an asylum, maybe she'll be Liv Jerome's roommate, and we'll get Tanya Walker back, because that'd be so great, or she'll be at the other criminal hospital with Heather.
I think you should work for ABC.
Well, it's just because I immediately thought, I was like, well, okay, because she's, I mean, and I know her whole entire character arc. I read her whole history on several different sites and wikis, that she wasn't always a loon, but when, by the end she was a loon. And so when you see lunatic and you hear lunatic coming to General Hospital, you naturally think Heather, and now you think, Liv. But Tanya Walker, I follow her, and I know that she isn't, I'd love for her to come back, but, I haven't seen anything about her coming back. And so, and then she's Quinn Danvers, and she's, a literary editor as part of a plot that I think universally most people hate, the Manlander story. And I tweeted about this today. I said,
you're not too keen on it.
Demographic, who knows what Manlanders is referencing? And, a lot of people just don't. And it's funny, and it's like, and I think that's a disconnect with older writers, because Gina and Shelley are older. And it's like, and they both are classically educated, which I admire. I have my education, and I believe in education, but I think that their age and just some things put them out of touch with writers. And this Manlanders thing, A, because it's, weird, but B, because the reference is like, I don't get it. My mother gets it, but she's 70. So, and also, it's just frustrating. Jennifer Bassey looks beautiful. She looks
Doesn't she?
So great. I want whatever regimen she's doing to look for her hair and her skin and just everything. She looks amazing. But then also Nathan Varney had just done an interview where he talked about, now that the Prospect Park suit is done and they can bring in All My Children and One Life to Live, he said he was going to bring characters over where it made sense. And then there's Hillary B. Smith in what I thought was a very effective cameo. Coming in.
Yep, I did read that. She was the first that they notified to bring over.
Right, and she came over as her character, which was great, and it was very relevant, and of course it was just a short arc, but she's great, and it was relevant, and it wove into the storyline, and it was just like Nathan Varney said, we're going to bring him over when it makes sense. Great. And then Jennifer Bassey came over as somebody else, as a throwaway role in a throwaway plot. That didn't make sense to me. But at the same time, I was glad to see her. It's always nice. And I do like what he said. He said when they do bring people in, because one of the big complaints about General Hospital is they're like I'll throw out a really outdated reference, a Cecil B. DeMille film that has literally a cast of thousands, one of those mega pictures from the 1940s where they had 8,000 extras. Yeah, General Hospital has a cast that feels like that sometimes. So when he said he was going to bring more people in, people were like, no, boo, hiss. But he did say, no, we're talking guest arcs in and out. And it looks like Jennifer was probably done as of today. She had one meeting with Amy and Nathan and the book deal. Maybe she'll come back for the book launch if it happens. Who knows?
That's it for her, though? That was it? Just yesterday and today?
Yeah, that's
wow.
it. She was the literary editor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like this. It wasn't even an arc. It was, like a cameo. It was like a cameo, other than she wasn't playing herself. And it was, and I do think people were really excited, thinking, oh, is she going to be Marianne? And it's like, no, she's this random person. And there's a new guy on set right now who's playing this mobster Garvey, who seems to be fabricated and his history doesn't exist. And Eddie Davenport just left General Hospital. He had a handful of episodes as Costa Philippos. He was Helena's henchman that was beating Jason on the island, and of course we know that whole scene violated his past history, and Jean Passanante started a fan war on Twitter when a fan said, but he wasn't ever on the island, and she said, how do you know? And then people started sending her
video
footage saying, we know because we know the show. Why don't you? But the interesting thing, it came out that he was brainwashed too, and so Jason just let the police take him instead of killing him. But the interesting thing I read was that final scene he had with Billy Miller on the roof, where Billy and Eddie were grappling and going to town. Billy accidentally broke Eddie's nose, is what I heard.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, but I mean, how many people get to say, "Hey, Billy Miller broke my nose"? I don't know. Billy's a boxer. He that's what he does. If I can diverge into a little bit of Billy history, because Billy's not on any social media, and he says, "I love the fans, but I won't do it." So his history is really interesting. He was really passionate when they did the Shriners Hospitals for Children story, because he spent time there in Texas as a child. There's something wrong with his ankles. Like I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't keep medical information at the top of my head about actors, but there was something wrong with his ankles, and he never could run and do stuff like that, right? And he spent time at the hospital, and he had to have stuff done. I think he said he had to wear leg braces. But so he boxes because he can't run and do stuff like that. And so he's an avid boxer, as are many of the guys on the GH set. Maurice Baynard, Brian Craig is a big boxer. Right. So it's just kind of interesting to do a scene, with someone like Billy who does box every day, and it's like, crack, there goes my nose. So, but Eddie was good. His run wasn't big, and he's gone.
That was a quick one too.
Yeah, and then the other kind of comings and goings that are officially back on set as of the end of last week, I believe. Roger Howarth is back as Franco. So
Roger
we'll
is
see
back.
Roger is back. We'll see him in about 4 weeks. So like the last third or fourth week of July, he had a gap. They wrote him out because of the contract negotiations. Nathan did talk about that. He was on a podcast, and I listened to it, and he talked about it, and he said they were really glad, but they had to write him out to protect them. But what's funny is they didn't really write him out. They just are ignoring the fact that he's not there. So, like he just went to work.
You have to cover yourself.
Exactly, just in case he doesn't come back. But they would have to say, "Oh, I don't know, he fell off the pier." Last we saw, he was working as a parking attendant in the General Hospital garage. So I have to assume he got locked in a maintenance shed or something. But he's back. So Frizz fans, prepare to be thrilled. The third or fourth week of July. Kirsten Storms is also back on set after her several months break, and her scenes she started back within a few days, around the same time as Roger Howarth, and so her return might coincide with her 6-month anniversary with Maxie and Nathan. So it'll be interesting to see if they do a shout out. And the big one that people have been talking about has been in all the groups. Everybody is so scared that James Patrick Stewart is gone, that Valentine is gone. James is back on set. No. James is back on set. If you watch the General Hospital social media account, James is back on set, and as Valentine, he was filming at the little outdoor park they like to use with Nancy Lee Grahn. So we're going to have, half Cassadine sibling scenes. So I think that ties back. Obviously, he said in an interview that he was brought in for a handful of episodes back when we saw him on the island back in Greece, and he had the silly mustache and was pretending to be the fisherman. And then, we saw the tattoo, which I've never seen again. And then people loved him because we've been waiting on Valentine Cassadine forever because he was supposed to come on. He was cast, and then I think the writer's strike or something happened. And then nothing. Yeah. And so when I heard Valentine, I was like, yay. And then James Patrick Stewart is amazing. I loved him. He's done a ton of stuff, but I particularly loved him on Supernatural. He played this character Leviathan who I think he ate people. He was charming and terrifying, kind of like, Valentine is supposed to be. So everybody, I've just seen posts in the groups, is Valentine really gone? Is he gone? And no, he's not. He's got the deal where the evil twin. See, that's the other. All My Children, I forgot the other crossover with Alex Devane Merrick, which was frustrating, I think, for a lot of fans to see her cast as a villain, because she wasn't. And General Hospital's social media account even tweeted calling her villainous, and boy, they got piled on about that because, I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch All My Children, but I did go back and I watched footage and I looked at when Finola was over there, and she saved Anna's life, and they're close, and she moved off and was living somewhere with her doctor husband, who apparently is gone, and now she's evil and is running a clinic where you can put people in comas and leave them there. So it was very strange, but her in and out plot. Huh?
It was new to me. It was new to me because I didn't get to see that part. I never got to see that part of Alex before, so Alex is new. I've heard about it.
Yeah, she was never evil. There wasn't, in the Alex and Anna, twin saga over on All My Children, Alex did at one point try to kill Anna, but that was because their mother, interestingly, Charlotte, because it's funny now, they have Valentine's daughter named Charlotte, and then that prompted some speculation. She had brainwashed Alex to train her to kill Anna, and then they had another sibling that ended up dead. But Alex, once she broke free of her mother's mind control, and Charlotte Devane turned out not to even be her mother. She was like her aunt or her second cousin or her third uncle. I don't know. But something like that. So she wasn't evil. She had been brainwashed, and then she got that all cleared up like you do, So it was frustrating, I think, for All My Children fans. I could see it on social media, and I talked to some fans that really watched it, that they brought this great character over and twisted her history around. And I think that's a big issue that some of the fans have with Gene and Shelley, is the twisting of history. And then they went to All My Children and twisted history there. And I think it was Gene or Shelley, I can't remember. I think Gene actually created the character of Alex over there, so she definitely knows the history. But then, decided to twist it for plot purposes over on General Hospital. Can we
at least call Alex misunderstood?
Misunderstood. Yeah, it's that being said, aside from the fact, I didn't watch All My Children, so I wasn't married to any mentally, I had no expectations of her other than, what I'd read on the wiki, because I went to look. Because immediately it was kind of obvious that Anna's not herself, it's literally someone else. And what I did think was interesting is that they didn't ever tell any of the other actors on General Hospital that she was playing Alex. So, I'm sure they were wondering, what's wrong? Is it another brain tumor or whatever? But she did a great job. Finola was great, and I really liked, the chemistry and everything. But she seems to be gone for now. I don't know if we're going to see Alex back again. Another. Can we bounce back to Bold and the Beautiful? I want to bounce back to Bold and the Beautiful for just a second.
Go ahead.
With a little piece of casting. Lindsay Godfrey is coming back as Carolyn Spencer, and it was interesting because there was rumors that she was coming back, and then Lindsay came out on social media and said, "I'm not coming back." And then literally 3 weeks later, it was announced she's coming back. When she said that, she didn't know she was, and then she got a call from the showrunners, and they said, "We want to bring Carolyn back." And so there's been a lot of speculation about she's coming back, and the new couple, Sally and Thomas, are going to break up, this and that. Carolyn, I understand from a recent interview that she did, I can't remember where she did it, but maybe it might have even been one of the soap magazines, but she said she's coming back for 3 episodes. So for anyone to pin any hopes on Carolyn getting back with Ridge or, doing something with Thomas, it's 3 episodes. Maybe she's going to bring the baby, maybe she's going to drop the baby off, maybe, I don't know, maybe she just wants to come say hi to Sheila. And it's funny because that was with all the spoilers about a fan favorite is coming, and then that casting announcement came, and I think my theory that Bradley Bell brought her in so that,
He was teasing us because he's bringing everybody
back Sheila. Yeah, and Deacon. And I think the Lindsay Godfrey news was for people like, oh, okay, that's the fan favorite, whether she was your favorite or not, it's like, okay, that's the fan favorite. I think she was a red herring. We still haven't seen her yet. And I haven't seen any pictures of her. I think I did see one picture of her over on the set. So, maybe she'll be there for an episode. Maybe she's bringing the baby to see Thomas. Who knows? But, yeah, she was definitely, I think, a red herring so that people were looking at her and not paying attention. It was like Bradley Bell's sleight of hand. Like, don't look at the person behind the curtain because that's where he was hiding Kimberlin Brown. So they did. They surprised fans. I mean, when I was watching that, I think I was on Twitter Live, and Twitter just blew up. It was like, Kimberlin. So.
And I don't know if is she on social media?
Kimberlin? She has a Twitter account. I'm not sure exactly. I'm glancing now, actually, how she has a verified account. She did post stuff, the interviews about her once it was confirmed that she was coming. She's reposted interviews, but she doesn't seem to be one of those social media junkies. Her stuff pretty much really picked up. She fishes. Her account's kind of fun because apparently she fishes, and there's pictures of her with this giant fish at a bass tournament. But for the most part, she's a casual couple of, 3-4 tweets a month, not somebody who's just, right there. But she does seem to be responding to fans that have been welcoming her back, and she's been sharing the interviews that she gave about the return. So that's nice. That's nice.
It's going to be an interesting year.
I think it's going to. I'm excited. There's so many possibilities for what can happen, and so much they can do with her. Because right now, I'm taking her at her word that she's reformed, but we all know it's Sheila. She's not going to stay good.
I'd like to see her try.
Good, everybody would be disappointed. I'm sorry?
I'd like to see her try, but it's going to be hard. So many.
Yeah, I mean, she seemed like she wants to try.
Yeah.
And, poor Eric, he always wants to think the best of everyone, but at the same time, he loves bad girls. So,
yeah, he's proven that.
Because Stephanie was a spitfire, and then Sheila and Quinn, for him to just go.
Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren. He does love his bad girls, and which is nice because it's very yin-yang because, Eric he's the perennial sweetie. What I am really glad about with Sheila coming in is there was also in the interview with Bradley Bell, he said that Katie is bowing out of that situation. And
which is good.
Which is good because there was a lot of talk about her getting with Eric, and and I know they play with ages and things on shows, but he is literally her father's age and just a lot of things. Even though he was married to her sister, everyone's been married to her sister. I don't know if that counts, but it was a weird pairing, the idea of it, because she does seem to have a fatherly daughterly vibe to their interactions. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that's going to be gone, and she is going to take a step back out of that, and so it's going to be Quinn and Sheila and Eric, which is a much better triangle and has so much more possibility.
I know Sheila's going to make Quinn look like Betty Crocker.
She is, because really, even given all the other, the stuff with the Spectras and the wildness that Stephanie got into with other people, Quinn is pretty bad. The stuff that she's done, kidnapping her son's brother, and then, they wound up, having all the cabin nookie, and that was really bothering people.
Right.
Scott Clifton thought it was a great plot. Scott Clifton loved it. He thought it was a great plot. They were having fun with it.
That was his best work.
Yeah, he did great work, and he fell in love with her, and she fell in love with him. Yeah, oh yeah. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I have to say, I was definitely tuning in to watch to see what Quinn was going to do next with Liam, and but that was, I think, especially after she had tried to stab him and all the different times she's done terrible things to him, and then to wind up in his bed, that was great. And so I think what'll be interesting is with this dynamic with Sheila is that Quinn is not going to be the baddest person in the room anymore, because Sheila has done, so much worse, and Sheila has the capacity. I mean, Sheila's nuclear when Quinn is like a hand grenade. That's the difference to me.
Yeah,
if I was going
that's right.
Put it in terms of explosives, and
yeah.
I can't wait. What I also liked that Brad Bell said was that it's going to be a slow arc, because he's got her for a year. So he said she's not going to turn around next week and, do something to Quinn. She's going to struggle, and Sheila's going to try to be good, and then she's going to he said she's going to figure out that Quinn isn't all she's cracked up to be, because Sheila doesn't know Quinn. All she knows is what Erica's going to tell her about Quinn, and then she's going to start hearing things. And so once Sheila figures out that Quinn isn't all she's cracked up to be, then I think Sheila's going to be like, well, this is my theory, but my thought inside the mind of a villain is, well, he's with someone who's not so great. Why can't he be with me instead?
Right.
So, and eventually the whole thing with Ridge is going to come out, and so
that's sad too.
Yeah, it is. It's weird, and what's funny is Thorsten Kaye, I think, is a great actor, because any actor that makes me hate their character passionately, to me, is a great actor. Yeah, and he bosses people around, and he's very high-handed, and he's just a total tool, and I just want to smack him. And so as annoyed as I get with his character, I think, gosh, Thorsten's doing such a good job. But somehow along the way, he's been, knocked down about 8 notches after he lost Brooke and the whole smooching with Quinn thing came out, that I like him so much better now, and I really do want him with Quinn.
You do want Ridge with Quinn?
I want Quidge to happen. And I see on social media people are divided, and the one thing I don't want is I don't want to see Eric hurt, because Eric is so sweet and he doesn't deserve that. But I think we can all see it's going to happen, like it or not. I don't see how. She told him last week she loved him. She dropped the L-bomb and he didn't go running. And part of their chemistry, their amazing chemistry, I think, is that dislike they have for each other at a core level.
Yeah.
So and they have great chemistry, and when they ended up on his bed, it was like, wow. And they've been doing a great slow burn with her and Ridge. I don't think they're gonna get naked anytime soon. Because Quinn, and that's the neat thing about bringing in Sheila. Sheila wants to be better. Quinn wants to be better.
So it's a race.
It's a race, and they're both inevitably going to fail. I mean, we have. It's so funny because I see the comments on social media and in soap groups on Facebook, and people are like, why can't they just let a couple be happy? And my answer is, it's a soap opera. If they were happily ever after, you wouldn't keep tuning in. You keep tuning in to see them cheat and break hearts and get pregnant when they shouldn't, and and do terrible things. Yeah, I mean, you don't. The idea, you want them to be happy for a minute. I think Bill and Brooke are going to be happy for a minute, and that's fine. But I would not tune in every day if everybody on my soaps was happily coupled up and they weren't, screwing somebody over. Why would you? So I think, with the girls, with Sheila and Quinn, it is going to be that they both want to be good, and they're both inevitably going to fail. and it's going to be brilliant when they do. So, but I do think that they're taking it slow.
That's a good thing, because you don't want to rush.
No, and they don't have to, and that was the nice thing when basically that I took comfort in, because immediately, as soon as it was like Sheila Carter's back, and then the rumor mill started with some sites immediately, she's going to Young and the Restless, and you have to think for a minute, you have to pause and go, is she? Did she just pop up here and she's going to go to Genoa City? But I felt like Bradley Bell dispelled that pretty neatly when he said that he's got a slow, long arc, and he kind of made it clear that he didn't really like what they were doing with Sheila in Genoa City, and I don't think he's going to let her go. And I think when they get that bump from the ratings that I really think we're going to see, that you said, David, is that he's not going to want to let her go, even if he initially thought, well, maybe I can share her.
Maybe
so
they can
I think
have Daniel Hall.
I think they should keep their toys. I think they should keep their Sheila. There's plenty of people in Genoa City. They don't need Sheila. If apparently, any moment Adam's going to crawl out of the grave over there, they don't need Sheila. Chloe just got resurrected. They got plenty of people back from the dead. They don't need her. So I really do hope, and I think that my impression, like I said, from his interview, was that they're going to keep her and they're going to move things along nice and slow, and that's going to be good. Back over on Young and the Restless, I'm enjoying, in terms of their casting, I'm enjoying Max Shippey as Graham.
I am too.
And the big reveal this week, his last name, Bloodworth, Ashley finally got it out of him, and it's like, why didn't you ask him his last name the first time you met him? But okay. And, he made the phone call, and he's talking about her will. But I had been under the impression that he was sleeping with Dina, and he's not. So that's nice. I think he's doing a really good job. Yeah.
But how is he contract or recurring?
As my understanding right now is he's recurring. He's not contract. This is an arc. Marla Adams, I don't know how long she's staying as Dina. I think, when she dropped in, people were thinking it was going to be another in and out for her, and she's putting down roots. But at the same time, I think we can all see that there's a health issue. So, Dina is...
It's more of a health issue with...
Well, not with the character, because her memory is slippery and there's stuff going on. So I get the feeling they have brought her back to die, which is terrible. That always depresses me about older actors when they cast them on something. Hey, we want you to come over here and die, and it's like sad. But she's not at her peak health, and she's tying up loose ends with her family. Marla Adams is killing it every day. I think she's so great.
And you know what I just loved? I just loved her scene with Melissa Ordway. I think that was so welcoming. That was such a welcoming performance.
Yeah. She and Melissa Ordway are playing very nicely off each other. And it was nice to see her, to see Marla doing scenes with Eric Braeden, because they're contemporaries, and I thought those were nice. I'd like to see more of those. I don't know if we will, but I think that I don't know how long she's going to be on for. I haven't seen anything specifically, but I think that Max Shippey, I feel like the way things are going, that he's not going to be there for Marla Adams' entire arc. I think that the Abbott siblings are going to figure out his game and boot him out of Genoa City at some point.
Well, I think they're going to be very interested into who he really is.
Right, and there's been some talk about if he is somebody who's related. I've seen crazy stuff that he's like a sibling they don't know, and it's like, but you can dismiss that out of hand when Dina gives a jealous look at him touching Ashley's hand. It's like that's not a sibling. That's not someone that she views that is her child or that she views in any kind of maternal aspect. You know? So I think I truly don't think that Graham has been written as some secret part of her past. I think he's someone who has glommed onto her and saw her as a piggy bank, and we'll see.
Yeah, 'cause he has no business background.
Right, yeah, he's just kind of random, but he's awfully cute. He's awfully cute. I like a silver fox. He is, prematurely gray and let it go. I love when actors do that. Rick Hurst from General Hospital, he's let his go silver, and that's my jam personally. I just think it's so cute. So I do like Max. He's cute, and Marla Adams is acting her face off. I think she's doing great. Laura Allen seems to be sticking around as Juliet Helton, and people aren't happy about that. I
gotta give the newbies some credit, I mean, the older ones are coming around, and you need some new blood.
You do, and yeah, I agree. And the very fact I think that people hate her means she's doing a good job in a way, because her acting is great. She's a good foil. Daniel Goddard, everybody hates him right now, which I applaud because that he's doing a good job. Everybody's so mad at Kane, and they think he's channeling.
I feel so bad for Kane because I saw this more as a battle with himself than anyone else.
And for me, he's channeling Colin.
He's channeling Colin?
Yeah. I mean, well, and Tristan Rogers is back and next week, and because his dad is, Colin's a dirtbag, and so those are the genes that populate Kane. So half of him anyway,
Such a good guy, though. I mean, the thing is, I think Sally, I'm not sure, looked up, but he never cheats. Kane never cheats.
And that's what people are certain, real passionately certain that he didn't this time. That he got drunk and he shouldn't have, and he passed out and he undressed. But I've seen so many debates about no, he was too drunk for anything to happen, and they've been discussing biology, and I'm like, I don't want to have the anatomy lesson, but yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I don't.
Because he has been having flashbacks. Yeah. So
he remembers being there, but he doesn't know if he did anything.
And he remembers kissing her, and then the walk of shame. So people maintain he didn't. And, at his core, he's not a cheater. His wife is, but he's not. She has several times. But, you probably saw the news, just as one other Young and the Restless thing, that the actress who plays Esther lost her husband, Kate Linder.
Yeah.
Lost her husband. It seemed to have been she tweeted a message. Tristan Rogers was the one who alerted the soap community that she had lost her husband, and she did finally tweet today, and she said he died Monday night. She tweeted, "To the world, Ron was an author, educator, and innovator, but to me, he was the love of my life and will forever be missed." And then she also shared another one where she said, "It's with a heavy heart that I share with you that my dear husband Ron passed away Monday night." And so far there haven't been, any details, but it's really sad. And I did write an article about it yesterday, just with some information about them. They have a really sweet love story. She graduated from college, but was doing some work at the university, and he was a professor there, and they met at the University Activities Building, and a year later they were married on Valentine's Day. 6 years later, she had a tiny part on Young and the Restless as Esther. She didn't even have a last name, and they loved her. you know. And then when they were going to flesh out her character and give her a last name, she said Valentine, because that was when she got married to Ron. And she said it turned out to be a lot of good luck that she named her Valentine, because she's been on the show 35 plus years.
Yeah, 35 years.
Yeah, their love story is really sweet. Kate seems so down to earth. You know, she still works as a flight attendant in the first class at an airline. She's never quit her other job, which is so funny. And she does so much charity work, and her husband was so supportive. And it's sad. It's sad. They seemed like they were just deeply in love, and they've been married 41 years.
41 years.
41 years. Valentine's Day, 1976 was when they got married.
76.
So they had their anniversary.
And wasn't it just after Father's Day?
Yeah, he passed away. Father's Day was Sunday. He passed away Monday night. They did not have, from my understanding, they did not have children together. He had children from a prior marriage, and she was a devoted stepmother. And they had this, you know, rich, full life together. And she did a lot of charity work. His brother was diagnosed with ALS, with Lou Gehrig's disease, years ago, and that's why she got involved as the ALS celebrity spokesperson. And she's really tireless in humanitarian stuff. She works with homeless charities there in LA, and AIDS charities, and with the ALS Foundation, and that was all inspired by her brother-in-law, her work with ALS, and then, you know, she lost her husband. So it's very sad, very sad.
Yeah, it is. It's something, you know, that makes you sit back and take notice of everything and be grateful for what you have.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's one of those where you read that, and I went and I hugged my husband. It was just, you know, it brought tears to my eyes, and it's just, you know, because he was young, you know, I mean, in his mid-70s, but that's young these days. So, you know, 70's the new 50 and all that.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. So that's
so what
sad
else you
news.
got
I'm
for me?
sorry.
That's okay,
let's see.
because I had that on my notes too.
Okay, yeah, because it was just like, let's just bring everything crashing down with sad news.
Everything.
But everything. You know, the good news for me this week is the we're on baby watch over at General Hospital. Emma Rylan is about to pop. And it's hilarious, you know, that the GH hasn't written her pregnancy in, which I'm glad they didn't, because Lulu legit can't have kids, because when you're cryogenically frozen by your stalker older lover, who also had a child with your mother, of course you're going to expect you're going to come out of that infertile. So people were all up in the air about her pink nurse's ball dress to hide the baby, and she posted that cute picture on social media where she had Kelly Monaco hidden under her skirts. That dress was gigantic. To me, it looked like my grandmother had one of these. It was the crocheted toilet paper cover that has a Barbie doll shoved down in the middle of the roll of toilet paper. That's what she looked like to me.
I can see.
And then after that, I think I don't know if they got so much criticism or they just got tired. They've even quit trying to hide it. They're just putting her in, you know, loose tops, and they're like, we're just going to pretend she got into the Oreos and got a little fat, and it's fine. Emma is not supposed to be taking a maternity leave.
She's not.
General Hospital is going dark for 2 weeks in July that they do annually, and it's supposedly going to. They're doing their usual 2 weeks of summer going dark, and she's trying real hard to align her delivery, you know, to then. She's on baby watch. She's looks like she's going to pop. She had a real cute shirt on the other day that said, "You're kicking me, Smalls," and it was adorable, and she's got everything ready to go. And Kirsten Storms has been over at her house on baby watch with her, and she's going to have a girl, which is nice because she's got 2 boys. So that's happy. Yeah, anytime now, and she's hoping and planning right now. that because the baby's due any second, and they can, she's obviously shot the scenes that are on right now, and she's not planning to step back at all. So she thinks it's going to be pretty seamless. I mean, I'm sure they'll ease up on her plot a little bit. Can we talk casting and exit rumors for a second?
Go ahead. Yep, that's what we're here for.
If we can go there, there have been a handful, and I've written about some of them. I saw some source stuff early on, and I wrote about them. And it's funny that they picked up so much momentum that even the sites that generally don't speculate, I speculate, but I say this could happen, this might be happening, this is a rumor that has emerged. And I'm very clear. I don't say this is happening when I write, unless I know it's happening. But one woman, one soap tweeter who seems to have good inside information. I've looked back at her history and all, who seems to have a pretty good track record of knowing stuff. She's got, I don't know, she has a second cousin working in the makeup department over there or whatever. She says Rebecca Budig is leaving.
I heard rumor to that effect myself.
And Rebecca was brought in for a very short arc to do the arc with Tyler Christopher, and then when they shot her and threw her in the coma, they were going to leave her there, but people loved her because she's adorable,
so
and
they
she
gave
was greenly.
4 years.
Yeah, so she's got I think her contract's supposed to go through 2019, but General Hospital is also really good. I don't know I think the other soaps are pretty flexible like this because Justin Hartley wanted to go. They let him go at Young and the Restless. If she wants to go, they're going to let her go. But it continues to be a question, and she's in this plot right now. But a lot of fans feel like they haven't properly served the character because they made her a Weber, but then none of the other Webers have ever shown back up, and it's just her and Liz, and they don't necessarily like each other that much. And then, Ron Carlivati basically killed off Michael Easton, and then fans raged. And they brought Michael Easton back, and now he's, Rebecca Budig's primary scene partner, and they have a fun relationship. But then there's another rumor from a semi-credible source that Michael might be leaving.
Yeah.
So, and the Rebecca source says, no, he's not leaving. And then, so it's, who knows? We won't know until they actually leave.
We won't know. But we do know.
We won't know.
Someone is coming, though.
Yeah.
That I'm very excited about because I got to see him. I didn't say, and it's Jimmy DePaiva.
Yes. And speculation is rife. A lot of people, me included, were hoping he was Jeff Weber.
That's me. I'm hoping
he was at the hospital. He was at the hospital, and he looked like he was near a chart. And Hayden is pregnant, and I still feel like there's going to be some pregnancy complications because of Blackwood syndrome and Zika Nestrol that they were both taking to save their lives around the time they got pregnant because they hadn't slept together in a while. So when you trace the timeline back, there was disease and drug stuff going on, So there has been talk. I mean, I hope he's Jeff Weber. I passionately hope he's Jeff Weber because, MacGyver's not going to come back and reprise his role. They're not going to get Richard Dean Anderson to come back. And a lot of people were like, he's too young to play that part. And it's like, no, there's an 8-year difference between him and Richard Dean Anderson. He's plenty old enough because, Rebecca Budig and Hurst are both
59, right?
Yeah, and Rebecca Budig and Hurst are both, early 40s, but they're playing, 7 years younger. Yeah, because they both look great.
Yeah.
They're playing younger, so it's a perfect age gap. If he was Jeff Weber, that would be exciting. If they brought him in to be some random dude to help Ava regrow her crow's teeth skin, I'm going to be real disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing that's kind of been consuming some people on social media. Is Mara West leaving? I haven't seen anything about Mara West leaving, and she's phenomenal, and I've tweeted this a couple of times. I said with half her body tied behind her back, she is acting her face off. She's phenomenal. She's so great. She's another one of those that you love to hate or hate to love. And I love this storyline that she's a crispy critter, and Griffin's in there praying over her. And I don't see that she's going anywhere. I think they wrote a big story for her, and I think she's going to stick around.
Yeah. She's sticking around. But
yeah,
there's
definitely.
one rumor. There's one thing I found, and it's only rumor because we have to see if we can verify it. I like it, but I'm not sure on the age difference with them. But they said that Griffin's next love interest is going to be Serena Baldwin.
Yes. There's been...
I don't know how true that is, but I just read that.
Well, the truth, as far as I've seen on the spoilers for summer, is that Matt Cohen is finally... We're going to get to see him undressed for something other than gratuitous shower and jogging scenes, which I appreciate. But General Hospital hasn't had enough romance lately, so that's what they have to do to give us our beefcake, because there's not been a lot of making love. I mean, there's not been a lot of romance, lately. But Griffin, what does Franco call him? Handsome father, man of God, is finally going to get a love interest. And the two schools of thought, there's the Serena Baldwin rumor, and the same source that says that Rebecca Budig is going says Serena Baldwin is coming for a short arc. And Scott Baldwin's, potentially facing some legal troubles. There was rumors probably 6 or 7 months ago. The Serena Baldwin rumor started a while back, and I think that the storyline got scrapped because of things happening. But when Doc first started dating Laura, there was the whole thing where Lucy Coe, Lynn Herring, wanted to break them up, and supposedly she was going to call Serena and bring Serena in as a reinforcement to plot against them as a couple, to break them up. But then the storyline was supposed to be that Serena was just going to love Laura and think that he was so great for Kevin that she wasn't going to do, what her mom wanted. And then that went dead, and that plot line seemed to have maybe been proposed or even drafted, who knows. And then it fell by the wayside, and then the Serena Baldwin talk is coming up again with Carly Schroeder in the part, who we haven't seen, in a while.
20 years.
Yeah, for me, bringing her in just for no reason is kind of gratuitous. I don't know that General Hospital necessarily needs her, but Griffin desperately needs a girlfriend, and I still hope.
Love.
Yeah, he does, and I'm still cheerleading that he might fall for Ava. That it might be the Florence Nightingale syndrome. There's people are back and forth. They love the idea of Grava, as a smush name. Love or hate it. There's an age difference there, but to be fair, Ava was with Morgan before, and Griffin's a lot older than Morgan. So
Griffin's a lot older.
He is.
Think Matt,
he's.
I'm not sure. I think Matt isn't quite 40.
Matt is
himself.
Early 30s. Matt is early 30s.
Early 30s?
He's early 30s. I'm going to even Google it while we're talking. Matt is another alumni of Supernatural, which is one of my shows that I love. I have a secret vampire and supernatural addiction. He's 34. So, he's 34. He looks younger. He's such a nice-looking man. Yeah. So, and she's mid-40s, and she looks great. She looks younger. She looks phenomenal. I would personally cheerlead Ava and Griffin because he's probably one of the best and nicest people in Port Charles, and she's probably, one of the worst. Even though I love Ava, I love the part, I don't ever want her to leave, but she is honestly bad. I don't think she's any worse than people will yell, but I really don't think she's any worse than Sonny or anybody else that in their line of work that's killing people and doing stuff. But I loved the idea because I think he could go a long way to redeeming her, and I think they'd be great together. But the other day when he held her hand and he prayed with her, I had a tingle where I thought, is he going to be like her spiritual advisor and her guru and see her through this and help her to be a better person, but they won't fall in love? I hope it's love. I think
he's the most soothing character on that show.
He is, and he's beautiful. Oh my gosh, he's beautiful. I think he should really not ever leave the locker room, so he can always be in a towel and slightly moist. That's just my 2 cents. Probably a lot of female fans share that. My theory, and again, I theorize because I see things. I believe there was a promo, the winter romance promo. You remember where there was Roger Howarth and Rebecca Herbst, and there was him, and there was Matt Cohen, and it was like, it's going to be a triangle. No triangle ever happened. They did that promo like they were thinking about doing it, and then I don't know. But I think with Roger Howarth possibly leaving because of his contract negotiations, I think they held off on writing a love story for Griffin in case they couldn't work out a deal with Roger and Roger left, and then the obvious thing would be to put Liz with Griffin. But now that Roger has inked and he's back, then I think that we're going to see something different, for him. And I don't think he's going to factor into the Franco-Liz dynamic. They have enough stuff going on with whatever's wrong with Sam and, Jason and all that.
I think we're in for a lot of fun with our soaps.
I think so. I'm excited about summer.
Well, I think we run the gamut for tonight.
We did. We covered a lot.
Yes, we did. On the comings and goings. And
we covered the comings and goings. Yep.
And we did. And let me see. We come back again. I think it's July the 12th.
Okay.
That's our next show.
That sounds great, and there's lots of stuff happening, so I know we'll have a bunch more to talk about then.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad I got a chance to meet you.
Oh, me too. I had a great time. Thank you for having me. If anybody wants to check out my musings, muckrack.com. You can look me up, Belynda Gates Turner. If you go to Inquisitor, I'm Belynda GT. I'm on Twitter as Belynda GT, and I tweet about soaps, and I also share my articles and my musings and my thoughts. So I'd love if you anybody who wants to check me out and ping me on Twitter. I love to theorize and talk about what's going on.
Well, we'd love to have you. And for all of you listeners, tomorrow night is Take Two Radio Soaps and Review, where we actually, there's about 2 or 3 of us that come on, and we go in and out of every soap town that's on the present-day television. We go through Genoa City, we go through Port Charles, we go through Los Angeles, and we go through Salem, and we try and take apart each storyline that we can, and we have a call-in, the same number that you called in. It's to call in tomorrow. It's 1-718-506-1540 and press 1 to come on the air with us, and we'd love to have you. I'm hoping we have a show tomorrow, so it's tomorrow night, same time.
Yeah.
And please, and if you want to call in, please do, because we welcome the call-ins.
Oh yeah, I'll have to make some room in my schedule. Any time that I could spend any time talking about soaps is good time. So.
So, and you know where to find me. You know who I am.
Yes.
David Silvani on Facebook. There are many of them, but I'm the one. If you see Scott Reeves and Lisa Cicero in the profile, that's me. I'm in the middle, and I'm Take Two Radio Crew, and that's my show. That's my show Twitter, and
Site Advocate is my personal.
Well, awesome. This was a lot of fun.
This is. And I look forward to working with you again. You have been so much fun.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you for having me on. I had a great time.
I loved having you.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Get connected with Take Two Radio on Facebook or Twitter at Take Two Radio. For email updates on future shows, follow at Blog Talk Radio. For previous episodes, upcoming guests, and more, visit TakeTwoRadio.com.